Sorry. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. We're going to start right away with the phonetics reading, the group with phonetics and English. This is lesson 28, unit 28 from the B1 level. And we will start right away with the first line. 1 second. Okay, so listen, repeat, and read. Okay. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm right? Do you agree? Do you agree? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I asked them how they felt. I asked them how they felt about their relationship. About their relationship. What did they say? What did they say? She said she'd never been so happy. She'd never been so happy. He said he'd always remember. He'd always remember. The first time they'd met. The first time they'd met. They were both casually dressed. They were both casually dressed. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. She had on denim shorts. She had on denim shorts and a blue tank top. And a blue tank top. Flying always makes me nervous. Flying always makes me nervous. Really, I find it relaxing. Really, I find it relaxing. Have you got a moment? Have you got a moment? Can I ask you some questions? Can I ask you some questions? Sure, go ahead. Sure, go ahead. How do you get to work? How do you get to work? I usually walk. I usually walk. Sometimes I take the bus. Sometimes I take the bus. Haven't you got a car? Haven't you got a car? Yes, but I don't use it. Yes, but I don't use it. To go to the office. to go to the office? What time do you leave home? What time do you leave home? About 7:30. About 7:30. What do you do? What do you do? I work for London Transport. I work for London Transport. What an interesting job. What an interesting job. It was one of those times. It was one of those times when everything seemed to go wrong. When everything seemed to go wrong. Okay, just let me check. 1 second. Just a reminder, I just want you to remember that you can click the subscribe button and also hit the bell, and you will be notified for the future lessons. Okay, we are going to continue with the second part of the phonetics in English group. Listen and repeat, okay? The airline lost our luggage. The airline lost our luggage. Then we missed the ferry. Then we missed the ferry. Most of the hotels and restaurants. Most of the hotels and restaurants were closed for the winter. Were closed for the winter. The ones that were open, were so expensive, that we almost ran out of money. It was too cold to go swimming. It was too cold to go swimming. Fran was feeling homesick. Fran was feeling homesick. In the end, we came home a week early. We came home a week early. There are only 2 or 3 people here. There are only 2 or 3 people here whose names I know. Whose names I know. Who's that tall, good-looking guy? Who's that tall, good-looking guy? Which one? Which one? The one with the fabulous tan. The one with the fabulous tan. That's Brad somebody or other. That's Brad somebody or other. I don't really know him. I don't really know him. And who's the pretty girl? And who's the pretty girl? in the sexy red dress. In the sexy red dress. That's Nancy, my neighbor. That's Nancy, my neighbor. She's awfully nice. She's awfully nice. I'll introduce you to her. I'll introduce you to her. If you like. If you like. First tell me everything. First tell me everything you know about her. You know about her. You'll have a great party. You'll have a great party if you plan it carefully. If you plan it carefully. Find an evening. Find an evening when all of your friends are free. When all of your friends are free. Work out exactly what you need. Work out exactly what you need. And what it's going to cost. And what it's going to cost. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for the advice. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do without you. What I'd do without you. It sounds too good to be true. It sounds too good to be true. Don't call before noon. Don't call before noon. I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. Which book did you buy in the end? Which book did you buy in the end? The one you recommended. The one you recommended. Very good. Okay, so we have reviewed the groups. We've learned how to pronounce a lot of words, a lot of phrases, expressions. Use the list in the description. You can go to the list in the description. The list also has a list of all of the words. You can copy and paste them into Google if you don't understand the meaning. That way you can see exactly what you are um, expressing. Okay, let's begin the unit with the grammar. We're going to look at Unit 28, Grammar, and we'll begin with questions. Okay, a lot of information about questions, forms of yes, no, and information questions. A yes, no question is a question that may be answered by yes or a no. Does he live in Chicago? Yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. This is a yes, no question. An information question is a question that asks for information by using a question word. Where does he live? In Chicago. Okay, you see, this question starts with the auxiliary. this question starts with the question word. This is very, very important. This you should learn. The question word, followed by auxiliary, followed by subject and infinitive. This is called kazi as a anagram. You can remember that. Notice that the same subject-verb order is used in both yes, no, and information questions. Okay, this is the order. Yes, no question A, does she live there? Information question B, where does she live? You see exactly the same order. Order is very important in English. C, information, yes, no question, do they live there? D, question word, where do they live? E, information yes, no question, did he live there? And information question F, where did he live? If the verb is in the present, we use does with he, she, and it, or we use do with I, you, we, and they. If the verb is in the simple past, we use did. Notice that did does not change the form, and always we have the infinitive. There is no final S or an ED. Look at some more examples. G, is he living there? Question word. Where? Number 8, letter H. Where is he living? I, have they lived there? Information question J, where have they lived? Yes, no question K, can Mary live there? Information question L, where can Mary live? Yes, no question M, will he be living there? Information question N, where will he be living? If the verb has an auxiliary, a helping verb, the same auxiliary is used in the question. There is no change in the form of the main verb. If the verb has more than one auxiliary, only the first auxiliary precedes the subject, such as am and n. So you see, will he be? Be is actually an auxiliary, but we're separating those with the subject. So the main thing is that you understand that you have the same order. You have question word if there is a question with an information. There is something like an auxiliary or the verb if it's the verb to be. Then there is the subject, and then there is the various ways that you can put the verb at the end. O, who lives there? P, who can come? If the question word is the subject, okay, who is the question word? Usual question word order is not used. Does, do, and did are not used. The verb is in the same form in a question as it is in a statement, as an affirmative. The statement, Tom came. The question, who came? Because the question, the subject is the question. The question is the subject is the question word. Q, are they there? R, where are they? Yes, no question, was Jim there? Question word, information question. T, where was Jim? Main verb be in the simple present and the simple past precedes the subject. It has the same position as a helping verb. So it's like an auxiliary. Same idea. You can do exercise 2 if you have the permission to go to that part and write your questions here. You can use the chat also if you want to communicate and send a question in the chat. I will answer the question there. Let's look at some more question words, okay? When. When did they arrive? Yesterday. When will you come? Next Monday. When is asked to when is used to ask questions about time. Okay, so your answer is going to be in time. Where? Letter B. Where is she? Where can I find a pen? Where is she? At home. Where can I find a pen? In that drawer. Where is used to ask questions about place. Place. Why? See. Why did he leave early? Because he's ill. Why aren't you coming with us? I'm tired. Why is used to ask questions about reason. How? D. How did you come to school? By bus. How does he drive? Carefully. How generally asks about manner. In what way? Right? How. But we can see how with other words. E. How much money does it cost? $10. How many people came? 15. How is used with much and many. How much for a quantity of how much something cost. How many for a quantity of countable. How. We can also see adjectives and adverbs after how. How old are you? 12. How cold is it? 10 below 0. How soon can you get here? In 10 minutes. How fast were you driving? 50 miles an hour. G. How long has he been here? 2 years. How often do you write home? Every week. How far is it to Miami from here? 500 miles. So how is also used with adjectives and adverbs. How long asks about a length of time, a duration. How often asks about frequency, and how far about distance. Who? H. Who can answer that question? I can. Who came to visit you? Jane and Eric. Who is used as the subject of a question? It refers to people, right? This is the question, the subject question that I told you. Who is I? Who came? Jane and Eric. Okay, we can also see who in I. Who is coming to dinner tonight? And Bob and Al. Who wants to come with me? We do. Who is usually followed by a singular verb, even if the speaker is asking about more than one person. Who is coming? And Bob and Al, because I don't know when I ask the question, I don't know how many people. Who wants to come? We do. I may expect a plural answer, but I still use a singular verb, who wants. Let's look at whom. Whom or who did you see? I saw George. Who or whom are you visiting? My relatives. K. Whom should I talk to, or who should I talk to? The secretary. To whom should I talk? Very formal, the secretary. Whom is used as the object of a verb or a preposition. In everyday spoken English, whom is rarely used. Who is used instead. Whom is used only in formal questions. Whom, not who, is used if preceded by a preposition. To whom. So, to whom. Otherwise, I put the preposition at the end. Who should I talk to? All right, let's look at whose. L. Whose book did you borrow? David's. Whose key is this? It's mine. Whose is this? Whose asks questions about possession because it is a possessive word. It's always followed by whatever is being possessed. Whose key, whose book. In this case, whose is this? I'm talking about something that you can see so you know what I'm talking about. What? M. What made you angry? His rudeness. What went wrong? Everything. What is used as the subject of a question? It refers to things. What? Instead of who, here I'm using what. What made you angry? His rudeness made me angry. What went wrong? Everything went wrong. So these are the subjects. Let's see what in a more normal way. What do you need? I need a pencil. What did Alice buy? A book. Oh, what did he talk about? His vacation. About what did he talk? Okay, what is used as an object? Again, you very, very formal to start with the preposition. About what did he talk? It is correct, but it's very, very formal. What? What kind of soup is that? It's bean soup. What kind of shoes did he buy? Sandals. Okay. What kind of asks about the particular variety or type of something. What kind of, what type of, what sort of also is possible. What did you do last night? I studied. What is Mary doing? Reading a book. What plus a form of do is used to ask questions about activities. What did you do? I studied. That's the activity I want to know. R. What countries did you visit? Italy and Spain. What time did she come? 7 o'clock. What color is his hair? Dark brown. What may accompany a noun? What countries? What time? What color? What anything? Right. That's I'm asking about that particular category or that particular thing. What? S. What is Ed like? He's kind and friendly. What is the weather like? What plus be like asks for a general description of qualities. So notice that the verb is. What is Ed like? This like here is not the verb like, it's the preposition like. It's like similar. What? What does Ed look like? He's tall and has dark hair. V. What does her house look like? It's a two-story red brick house. Story is like a floor. What plus look like asks for a physical description. Okay, look like is very similar to the S and T questions. What is Ed like? What does Ed look like? I want a description. Which? I have two pens. Which pen do you want? Which one do you want? The blue one. Which is used instead of what when a question concerns choosing from a definite known quality or group. Which do you want? X. Which book should I buy? That one. So I'm in a context, right? I have a selection of things, right? Which pen? I have two. Which one? You know what I'm talking about. Which book should I buy? We are looking. We know which books are possible. Finally, which countries did he visit? Peru and Chile. What countries did he visit? Z or Zeta, Z. Which class are you in? What class are you in? This class. In some cases, there is little difference in meaning between which and what when they accompany a noun such as class or countries. Okay, so we can have selection or not. Okay, we have a two-story house. This is American. Two-story house. This is British. Remember, that's two-floor. You can do exercise 3 if you have access to that group. Let's look at the phrasal verbs that are separable. Blow out, extinguish, a match, a candle, something like that. He blew the candles out. Bring back means to return. She brought my books back to me. Bring back. Bring up means to raise children or to mention, to start to talk about. So the Lees brought up 6 children. That means they raised those children. They were the children of the Lee family. He brought the news up in the conversation, to bring something up in a conversation. Cheer up is to make happier. The good news cheered me up. Clean up is to make neat and clean, to tidy. I cleaned up my apartment. Give away means to donate or get rid of by giving. I didn't sell my old bike, I gave it away. To help out is to assist, especially someone. Could you please help me out? Lay off is to stop employment. Okay, the company laid off 100 workers. Leave on means to not turn on off a light or a machine, or to not take off clothing. So please leave the light on. I left my coat on at the movie theater. Leave it on to remain. Take back is to return. She took a book back to the library. Take out is to invite and pay. He took Mary out. They went to a movie. In other words, they went on a date. Talk over is to discuss. We talked the problem over. Talk over. To think over instead is to consider. I thought the problem over. While to work out is to solve. That's just one of the many meanings of work out. We worked the problem out to solve it. It's like figure out. Let's look again at expressions of quantity. We have one apple. This is a count noun. We cannot say one water, one bread. You can talk about an expression, a quantity of expression. Each apple, there is no noun count example. Every apple, always countable. 2 apples, 3 apples, 4 apples, both apples, a couple of apples, a few apples, several apples, many apples, and a number of apples. Those are all expressions that you can only use with count nouns. Let's look at a few with uncountable. Little, a little rice, much rice, a great deal of rice. Okay, these you can use with uncountable. It's an uncountable idea. Then with both, we can use no apples, no rice. We can use some and any with both, some and any apples, some and any rice. A lot of, or lots of, a lot of apples, a lot of rice, plenty of apples, plenty of rice, most apples, most rice, all apples, all rice. So these last expressions, no, some, any, a lot, lots of, plenty of, most, or all, you can use with all countable and uncountable. Okay, remember that this is not used. All right, you can do exercise 6, 7, and 8 and 9 if you have that. Let's look at that whose we saw in the group. I know the man, his bicycle was stolen. Okay, we see that whose replaces the idea of the bicycle. So I know the man whose bicycle was stolen. Whose is used to show possession. It carries the same meaning as other possessive pronouns such as his, her, its, and their. Like his, her, its, and their, whose is connected to a noun. Let's look at the other example. The student writes well. I read her composition. Okay, so the student whose composition I read writes well. This is a little more complicated. In the first example, whose bicycle is his bicycle. In the second example, her composition is whose composition. Both whose and the noun it is connected to are placed at the beginning of the adjective clause. Whose cannot be omitted. Okay, so you put this at the beginning. Mr. Cat has a painting. Its value is inestimable. Inestimable. Mr. Cat has a painting whose value is inestimable. Whose usually modifies people, but it's also used to modify things, such as see, whose value. You can do exercise 10 here. Let's look at adjectives followed by infinitives. Certain adjectives can be immediately followed by infinitives, such as A and B. We'll look at those. In general, these adjectives describe a person. A person's not a thing. Many of these adjectives describe a person's feelings or attitudes. We were sorry to hear the bad news. I was surprised to see Tim at the meeting. So we have adjective, sorry, plus the infinitive to hear. Surprised, adjective, infinitive to see. Let's just look at the common adjectives followed by infinitives. Glad to do it, sorry to, ready to, careful to, surprised to, happy to, sad to, prepared to, hesitant to, amazed to, pleased to, upset to, anxious to, reluctant to, astonished to, delighted to, disappointed to, eager to, afraid to, shocked to, content to, relieved to, lucky to, proud to, ashamed to, willing to, motivated to, determined to, likely to, certain to, stunned to, fortunate to. Okay, expressions with asterisks are usually followed by infinitive phrases with verbs such as see, learn, discover, find out, or hear. Okay, one of the ways you can learn these is just to make up an example. I am glad to see you. I'm careful to see you. I'm sad to see you, and just practice using those. Okay, infinitives with to and enough. In the speaker's mind, the use of to implies a negative result. So that box is too heavy for Bob to lift. B, that box is very heavy, but Bob can lift it. You see, there's a big difference between too and very. Too heavy, it is impossible for Bob to lift that box. In B, very heavy, it is possible but difficult. Okay, look at a couple of more exercise examples. C, I'm strong enough to lift that box. I can lift it. D, I have enough strength to lift that box. I am sufficiently strong. I have strength enough to lift that box. Here you see you can use this in both ways. Enough follows an adjective such as G, strong enough, and as in D, enough strength. Um, in formal English, it may follow a noun, strength enough. All right, you can do exercise 11 if you have access to that. That's the end of the lesson. Very good. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.